Hi, welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to showcase personalized LinkedIn outreach. We're focusing on boosting response rates and scaling personalized outreach using AI. Now, before I dive in, a fun fact, of course, and we've all been on the same boat, is when we send a non-personalized LinkedIn outreach message, we either don't get a response in most cases, and in the cases that we do get a response, a lot of the times we get it as not interested. So any generic LinkedIn outreach message generally has about 10 response rate, but this number can be tripled or quadrupled if it's personalized. The more personalized it is, the more chances of you getting a response from that contact or prospect that you reached out to. So in today's video, we're going to cover that. We are going to cover how to develop AI agent that really develop those personalized outreach. But before we could do that, I did want to touch on a few points. One is why personalization matters. And the second point that I do want to touch on is how the average time a sales rep spends in its sales activities during the entire sales cycle. Now, the reason we are doing that is, remember, AI agents are there to boost productivity or to increase operational efficiency. And in order to do that, we need to understand the process that we are targeting. And we need to understand where these AI agents will fit in and provide that type of an efficiency boost needed in that process. Now, we don't want to develop an AI agent just for the heck of it, because I think that will be an overkill. So we really need to understand the process, and we need to really fit in the agent over there. As a side note, this is a project that we work for one of our clients. So this is a practical application in field. So I know you're all excited to see what's next. So let's dive right in. Before we jump into how and the logic behind developing these in, let's talk about why personalized LinkedIn outreach is so important. Right. So fact number one is personalized LinkedIn messages get 3x more replies than generic ones. This is something that I mentioned earlier as well. But also that most LinkedIn users receive dozens of these copy paste sales messages daily. And so they ignore them. They're always flooded with these messages. So that's why personalization matters. It builds trust. So people appreciate when you take the time to mention something specific about them. It makes you stand out. Instead of sound like a bot, you sound like a real person, and improves conversation as well. So more replies means more opportunities, means more closed deals. So let's look at an example and imagine you're a marketing consultant. So which message would you reply to? So a generic message would be like, hey, I help you grow your business. Let's connect. Or a personalized message would be, hey, I saw your recent post about AI and marketing. Great insight. I work with brands using AI for lead gen. Would love to share some quick strategies that might help your team. Obviously, no guesses here. The personalized message would get you more response, or at least increase your chances of response compared to a generic. And like I mentioned, I did want to break up the sales or the selling activities that a sales rep does in a week. And you can see over here, majority of the chunk is spent in prospecting, which is about 30%. As a sales professional, time is divided across these multiple areas. A significant portion is coming from the prospecting and customer interaction. But also like tasks like CRM updates, follow-ups, and admin work take some of these activities, which you can see over here, which would be about 25% of the time. So this is where really we need to start fitting in these agents. So today's video is going to focus on the prospecting aspect, because LinkedIn outreach messages are focused on prospecting. And and so let me take you through the logic or the process flow that I have developed in building this agent. And then of course I'll take you through the relevance AI piece itself, which showcases how this has been coded and what are the outputs that you'll be able to see. All right, so let's dive into the process or the flow chart for the agent and how the agent was built on what logic. So initially, the first level of input is going to be the user input itself. Now, there are three user inputs that we take into this agent. One is the LinkedIn URL of the prospect. No guesses there. The second is the company, your company, the name of the company. And of course, we have baked this into the relevance AI agent itself. So what we try to do is we give a small excerpt or a snippet about what our company does. And we want to make sure that message gets baked into the LinkedIn outreach. So we have a value proposition about what we do when we reach out to either of the prospects. So that's the second level of input we have. Now you can either set it as a default, or you can have a dynamic input. That's completely up to you, but that's how the tool has been developed. And then of course, the third input, and this is where things get a little bit complicated, is we have use cases. So the way we divide it is we have a relevancy, a hook, where we try to find that connect between what the contact has done based on his LinkedIn profile or a recent post that they've done. Then we have a small value proposition or a pitch about what lead AI does. And then finally, we provide a use case. Now, we felt use case very powerful way of communicating because it helps prospect to visualize what that process would look like. What would be the impact of an AI agent if they were to deploy it in their system? So that's how these outreach messages are structured. And that's the third level of input that we give is a use case. And I'll dive a little bit deeper how these use cases have been developed and where they are stored. We are using a knowledge base to extract those use cases, but more on that soon. So you got these three inputs that come in first, and then then we get the data from them. So from based on the LinkedIn URL, we scrape the LinkedIn profile and we scrape their LinkedIn posts, right? So now we have these data sets that we maintain as memory inside the agent. And then what we do is for the LinkedIn posts that were there, we scrape the latest 5 posts. And if you haven't seen my LinkedIn personalized connection request, make sure to check it out in my channel. It's already been posted. So the reason we do that is we want to make sure the posts are relevant and they are recent, right? And there's also recency involved in it. You don't want to talk about a post that happened 2 years ago. Obviously, it's not going to go well with the recipient. That is going to look very odd. So create the latest 5 posts based on the date. And then we start using the large language model. For me, it's ChatGPT 4.0. It has a broader context when it develops these tailored messages. But then if you want anything in depth, I would say go for the O1 model. It's very good at reasoning and providing you depth in your articles or for the matter, anything that you do. So for research or for blog posts and all, the O1 model is definitely better than the 4.0. So here, what we do with the LLM is now you have these 5 top posts. What it does is it formats for better LLM use because when you scrape something from LinkedIn, have all these different data fields that you don't require. And when you throw that at LLM, it obviously gets confused. Now remember, for any large language model to work really well for you, you have to be really specific and have really specific prompts. And the data set really needs to be very concise, clean, and then passed on to the LLM. So this is what we do in this step is really formatted for a better LLM use. Then we draw insights. Now, when we draw the insight, we want to draw the insights on the post and we want to draw insights from the scrape profile. So this is where we pass that argument to LLM and then it throws out the output. And once we have that output, this is a categorization step. Since lead AI is completely focused on automating sales and marketing process, we want to make sure that we are capturing those details from the LinkedIn profile and from the post itself. So that's why we instruct the LLM now, based on the insights that you have drawn, provide me insights related to the profile and the post and categorize them into sales and marketing or customer success or customer experience bucket, right? So that way it's all bucketed and categorized. Now, once we have this output, we want to check, is there a category or is there a post or any type of insight available in these 3 categories that I mentioned, which is sales, marketing, or customer success. Now, if there is, then is the post available? Is it based on a post or a profile? We don't know. But if there's a post available and it's less than 6 months, we use that to develop the relevancy statement or the hook. So that goes to the yes stream, and then you develop the relevancy to connect or pitch. In case it's not available, then we know it's from the LinkedIn profile. So you know what? Use the LinkedIn profile. So whatever insights you've drawn that has a connect to one of these 3 categories, use that as a relevancy statement to push out or to build that first couple of lines. Now, in the case neither of them is available, so let's say a user who's never posted anything, let's say for a long time, and it's not around sales, marketing, or customer success, and also they have not mentioned anything related to that in their profile, then you pretty much ignore all these categorization. And what you do is you take their LinkedIn profile. So you try to develop whatever relevant or anything that's recent from their LinkedIn profile, irrespective of which category, that insight falls into. And then you take a use case based on the user input. So remember when I said do provide a user input here in the start on which use case to use, it'll default to that use case. Now, in the other 2 event where there is a categorization available in either of these 3 areas, we tend to then use the use case from that category. More on that soon. And the way it does it is it pulls that out from a knowledge base that I have created. So I have created all these different use cases and I've categorized them into sales, marketing, and customer success. And it pulls that out from that knowledge base and it adds it to the outreach message. And then, of course, it makes it all cohesive together and provides you with an output. Now, there's an additional step they can add after this would be to humanize it. Now, if you haven't seen my video on the blog post, do check it out. It's on the channel where I talk about how we can humanize it. We do use technical AI for it. So in this step, in this video, I don't have the step involved, but it's a module, so I can attach it if I need to. That's completely up to you if you would like to do that. So this is how the flow chart for the agent looks like. There are obviously some rule-based criteria, but then the LLMs are autonomous when it comes to taking a decision on what's best to use when it comes to delivering that message. So yeah, there you go. And now let me take you through the tool itself. I'll first show you the output. And once we see the output, then I'll show you how I've implemented it or how I've developed the agent. Let's go to the next step. All right, guys. So let's now look at the agent in action. So let me first show you the output and then I'll run you through, without going too technical, I'll run you through some of the steps. It was anyway discussed in the flow chart, but I'll just show you how it was done. So let's look at the output now. In the interest of privacy, I'm going to use my own LinkedIn profile here, my company name. And then, of course, like I discussed earlier, we have all these use cases which are built in the knowledge base itself, which these are fallback use cases in case there's nothing that was provided in the LinkedIn profile or post for that matter. Let's look at the automated data entry. Right? Let's run the tool. So while this thing gets done, again, I cannot make it more apparent and I cannot stress more on it is that these use cases are not out of the box use cases. They're very specific to lead AI. And you also need to remember the agents and the processes on which they are developed. They need to be very specific to the company. Out of the box agents, while they are good at doing their job, they're not really good at personalization because each company has their own way of working. They have their own processes that they need to deal with. And that's why it's extremely important that any agent that gets deployed for a client needs to be first, you need to really work out the entire process that they work and see how that can be made more efficient. So here you go. Here is the output. Right. Okay. I notice your recent interest in AI and automation, especially regarding workflow efficiency. It's exciting. So there's a post regarding that. I believe I'll take it in my profile and I'll show you where it's taken this from. Now, this is the use case that it gets. Imagine this, your sales and marketing content lacks consistency, LLM fine-tuned with your brand voice and knowledge base generates on-brand proposals, emails, and chatbot responses instantly. Every customer touch point aligns with the messaging, building trust and improving conversation. Now, this is all related to something that is found here, which is in the workflow efficiency itself, right? So this is like I said, these use cases then are aligned to based on the categories that they get processed here. And then we provide a pitch on what an AI agent is, a little bit of stat to educate the prospect on where this industry is headed. And then, of course, a call to action where we'll be open to a brief chat to explore how AI agents can enhance your marketing strategies. Now, Sahan is the founder of Lead AI. We sign off with that and then we provide a link to it. Okay, so let me take you through the build. So get LinkedIn profile, pretty straightforward. Get the LinkedIn posts, extract those latest 5 posts. You can see it's all over here. It's extracted here. I won't take it too much into detail. Then, of course, format the LinkedIn post into better LLM views. And you can see here, the output is in a JSON object. I think JSON objects work great when you want to share something. With LLM, it's a very structured format and it does a great job in helping LLMs interpret data, right? All right. Okay. Let's draw the insights. Okay. Let's look at this. This is where the fun part comes in. Jag recently shared a post 1 day ago, which is focused on AI and automation, discussing integration of workflow automations and AI agents. Okay. So this is where it's coming from, right? And then you've got generative AI and content marketing, technical insight, AI deployment strategies, critical. Okay. So these are shared 1 week, 2 weeks. So they're fairly recent, right? And then a little bit summary about what I do or a little bit about my background. Then we go into the categorization. Now, this is a very important step. This is where we try to understand what, based on these posts, which category are we really looking at? Now, obviously, I'm giving more weightage to posts that are more recent. So here, if you see the latest post was around AI and automation. So what it does is it actually throws out marketing process automation, right? So if it's around workflow automation, then I think so the way LLM has understood this is that we should provide a use case around marketing process automation. Now, this is where we do the knowledge search. Knowledge search is where I have a database of use cases that are categorized into these specific categories. And then it does a search and then it just picks up randomly one that belongs to that category, and then it lists it out. So here we have 3 use cases that belong to marketing process automation, right? So you got the brand aligned, fine-tuned LLM, you got the automated lead scoring and qualification, and you got social media outreach, right? So it does a vector search, pulls out these 3 that fit into that category, which is right here, marketing process automation. Now, before I go further, let me show you the knowledge base itself. So this is a knowledge base. You've got the AI solution that we're offering. You got a description about it. And then you got the categories over here. So what it does is it actually maps to the output for a marketing process automation, and it lists out the top 3 that it's able to come up with. Right? We don't want to stick all of it into the outreach message itself, right? So we just need one. So we let the LLM choose what's the best fit over here. So that's where the output comes here. And then finally, what we do is integrate this and develop the outreach. So I noticed your recent AI and automation interest in AI, especially regarding workflow efficiency. Now, this has been picked up from here, right here, right? So highly relevant. This is where the relevancy statement develops. Then it says, picks up that use case, helps me visualize what it can do, right? So this is, I think this is the brand tune, fine tune LLM. So let's look over here. Where am I missing here? Your sales and marketing lacks, LLM, your sales and marketing lacks consistency. Large language models fine tune with your brand voice and knowledge base and generates blah, blah. So it takes that, adds it here. Then what I ask is provide me a brief into what an AI agent can do. Explain it to someone who does not know about AI agents and is a business owner. So it tries to tell you in a very simple term what AI agents can do. Then I've asked it to add context or a data stat from a consultancy or research agency, which kind of will bring in credibility into, what the ask is and why we are reaching out. And then, of course, a call to action here. Now, with this call to action, you can add a Calendly link if you want. But since the very personalized message, I would suggest to not add a Calendly link and instead a response is definitely going to be a much better option than just to be like, hey, book some time with me. But I do add Lead AI, our website to it, in case they want to check it out, they can do that. So there you go. So there's a highly relevant and targeted message. And the chances of getting a response to this is much more than a generic one that we discussed about some time back. So this brings me to the end of this video. So a quick recap. Remember, personalization is key to boosting LinkedIn outreach success. Use AI and automation to scale outreach without losing authenticity. So make sure that you are personalizing it, have your own format that you want to follow, and you integrate that into your agents. And test and optimize. I cannot stress more on this. There's a lot of testing that goes into the agents before they are run into production. We test every little bit and make sure it's fail safe as well. So add in those checks when it's required. So if you find this video useful, make sure to subscribe to my channel. I definitely encourage you to try this workflow so you could use Make, N8N, or even Relevance AI for that matter to develop these agents. And in case you are not very comfortable in doing this, you want a done for you automation workflow, DM me on LinkedIn and I'll be happy to help and discuss this further. And if you find this video useful, drop a comment like this video and subscribe for a more AI driven sales and marketing strategies. See you in the next one. Have a good day.